who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Well, hello and welcome to the Wow Report. I haven't seen you, Tom, in a while.
Too long.
Oh, I guess it was just a week.
Where have you been hiding? What's going on?
We pre-taped, so we were 2 weeks. That was 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. That's why I feel I haven't seen you for so long. Tom Gamble, creative director here at World of Wonder, and James St. James.
On death's doorstep. Once again.
I know.
This has been a terrible year for me.
Can you just promise me one thing? If you die, will you die on the show? Because that would be just great.
Well, I might throw up on the show. You might get that.
Projectile vomiting.
I only want health for you.
So, James, you had some kind
norovirus,
right?
I don't know. It's a stomach virus. It's just, it hasn't been.
You just shouldn't be licking the banisters.
No, or licking something. I don't know.
Fenton has it too, so I'm a very lucky boy today.
Yeah, just sandwiched between two germ machines. So, we count down the top 10 things that make us go, wow. And what can I say? Without further ado, let's
dive right
hit
in.
it. Yes.
Number 10.
Well, the week started off Sunday with the Billboard Music Awards.
I didn't even see that.
Did Andy Cohen host the Billboard Music Awards, or was he just there?
He hosted from the audience. He didn't really host, but Kelly Clarkson hosted. But Andy was wearing a pink suit. Pink was the theme of the night. There were male artists, but I only paid attention to the female artists. I did not watch it in real time. The only way you can watch an award show now is to tape it and fast through the hours and hours of commercials. And I believe J-Lo has a show called World of Dance coming up, I think, because they're promoting it the entire time.
Yes, she does.
But Andy was spectacularly... He looked very relaxed. And responding to J-Lo. He was sitting next to Bruce Bozzi. It was very Radio Andy. But it was Women's Night. Kelly Clarkson has made headlines and gone viral because at the very opening of the show, the cold open, if you will, she was... asked by the producers to do a moment of silence for the shooting victims in her home state of Texas. And she broke down so beautifully, not so beautifully, but so honestly. She was so vulnerable. And she said, I don't want to do a moment of silence. I want to do a moment of action.
Yeah.
I want to go into your community. I'm sick and tired of it. She goes, we're not taking care of our children.
Tired of these
we're not
moments
taking care
of
of our
silence
community.
And these thoughts and prayers are with everybody, and it does nothing.
It could have been, I've decided after the show, and I never had anything against Kelly Clarkson, but I love Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah,
she's so genuine.
She's a national treasure.
And when she sings, you're just like, holy shit, I forgot she had all that in her. She also, she struggles with her weight, as some of us do. Thank God I'm on radio. But she seems like she's slimming down a little bit. I just want her to be healthy. She has to be skinny, but I want her to be healthy. But can I tell you, it was a night of, a lot of people wearing pink. I missed the memo, but there's just a lot of pink, including Andy Cohen wearing pink.
Wait, but do you also find, though, that lately these shows that you're knowing fewer and fewer people, and all of a sudden there's just like,
stop.
It's like
you're aging out.
I'm aging out. I watched the Teen Awards, and I did not know one of them.
I've told you this before. I look at award shows now like flashcards, like something to keep me from getting Alzheimer's. Like, okay, Dua Lipa. Okay, that's deal. Like trying to make face recognition and keep it going.
Right.
But there was amazing. There were so many amazing moments. I guess the winner of the night too was Janet Jackson, who I'd seen in concert, so I knew it. Janet Jackson is back. She is snatched. I don't know if it's like face work or just her bun is her tunnel points.
It's that Suzanne Barsh thing. She's got the rubber bands going.
Because that gives you a facelift.
Yo, it does. That's the old Andy Warhol trick.
Grow hair for that. But she got the first ever. She's the first black female to ever get the Billboard Icon Award. This does just feel like an historic year for women, and they're embracing it. Taylor Swift is back. She won like Artist of the Year, Best of the Year, and she was wearing a pink Versace that supposedly took 8,000 hours.
8,000 hours?
Was it like covered in diamonds or stickers or something?
It just looked like a dress.
I think it was.
And she's back to be sort of the loose, kind of the French braid loose twirl. She's kind of doing that, and she's always surprised she's winning awards again. Like, she went from being like angry at Kanye to kind of back to being Taylor, but there's more on that later. Christina Aguilera, sans makeup, and Demi Moore, sans makeup, wearing like, I don't know, they were not in pink, they were like in black vinyl, shiny, like World War II spy trench coats and soldiers in a song. and I want to love it so much. It's so oversung. I did not understand
Surprise!
a word of it. I was with my sister who's visiting, and I said to her,
Christina Aguilera and Demi Lovato over
Together.
singing a song?
I just need a little bit of
A lyric of
lick.
yeah,
I like
something.
that sort of thing.
Doing runs.
Oh, runs, that's what they
Dua
call it.
Lipa
Yeah.
sort of was at the top of the show. I missed the very beginning. I think Ariana Grande was on. I missed the very beginning. But Dua,
I can't.
It was I love that song, New Rules. Got
that
new
the-
rules,
I'm
I count
obsessed
'em.
with her. She's so good.
And she's
Is that
really beautiful.
Nicotine? Is that song?
That's Camila Cabello.
Here's my
same thing.
I want to talk about those two because Dua on the show, part of the spectacle, what they can do with a set. Like every dancer in the world must have been in Las Vegas on Sunday night because everybody had like 35 dancers. It was like tick, 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 tick. But Dua started off and she was lying on this pink thing. It looked a little bit like a vagina, I think. And then they pulled back and there's dancers lying around her and it was a Busby Berkeley above shot. And when they pulled back and showed it for
That's
the front.
a reference that not one of the children
That's
will
okay.
ever get.
Google it. It was like a 30-foot tall flamingo followed by a staircase. So it was like this incredible visual effect. But then the sets are so big and there's so much movement that where's the close-up? Where's the close-up? So Dua she's beautiful. The song's great. She kind of disappeared. But Camila Cabello is a star. Blake's looking at me.
Yeah, I like her. Yeah. Mhm.
But she had the presence. She was dancing. She did this thing that started with Pharrell. Again, another set that I can't even explain to you. It was like petals falling from space, flower petals. And she did that in Havana. And we'll keep an eye out for her.
Oh, God, that Havana, ooh la la.
It's catchy, yes.
Yeah,
It's a catchy song.
And there's the last two
It's
shout outs.
sloppiest,
It's the new
it's the
Despacito.
sloppiest writing I've ever seen. Havana, ooh,
Havana
la,
and
la.
Atlanta rhyme.
Yeah,
somewhere.
He take me back to Atlanta, ooh la la.
That's
Then I
kind-
go back to Havana, ooh la la.
That's-
But he's from Atlanta, ooh la la.
That's
Good
coming
God
from
in
James,
heaven.
who still loves that Justin Timberlake troll song.
Now, would you just keep this from being a personal attack here? I'm just talking about
Who
it's
says
lazy
pop lyrics
songwriting.
need to have lots of words? And Black Eyed Peas, it feels like a tonight's
Oh, well,
gonna
don't
be
get
a
me
good
started
night.
about the Black Eyed Peas. That
Genius
is
minimalism.
No.
Yeah.
Well, there's that famous thing where it has the Queen Bohemian Rhapsody, and it says songwriter, and it's one person, it's Freddie Mercury. Then it has Beyonce, who runs the world, the songwriters, and it's like 140
Yes.
people for like 2 lyrics, 2 words.
All right.
Who runs the world? Girls. Who runs the world? Girls. And it took 140
James
people
is
to
right
write
there
All
that.
right,
today.
grumpy grandpa. This is the last.
Billboard-
This is the
Oh,
last
okay,
shout
let's
outs
get it
where
wrapped
this
up.
is what you please do is Salt and Pepper and Vogue ended the thing, and that was some old school fabulousness. Anyway,
Well, we posted a link to all the winners on the Wow Report. James, grumpy, sick, about to spew all over us. James, what have you got? Number 9.
Number 9.
Well, speaking of snatched, speaking of women who are snatched, I saw a book club over the weekend.
Oh, is it out?
It's out. It came out. Oh, it came out on Friday. It's Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen, Diane Keaton, and Mary Steenburgen. Okay,
All the oldies.
all the oldies.
I have a question.
Yeah?
In the reboot of Murphy Brown,
Yeah.
is it Candice Bergen?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And
Just
she
a-
shouldn't be on camera. I'm sorry. She's not looking good. She's not
I'm
looking
going to
good
take
at
a
all.
break.
But anyway, but no, the other it also stars Don Johnson, Craig T. Nelson, Richard Dreyfuss, and Andy Garcia. And Andy Garcia looks fantastic. On the plus side, it's good to see everybody again.
Yes.
Everybody looks great for the most part. The outfits are fabulous. You
Yes.
know,
Are they lit within an inch of their lives?
Yes.
Do you see like both nostrils or just one? Does it like just disappear?
Well, on the downside, except for the star power, it could have been a Hallmark movie. It's really cheesy. It's really done. It's done on a shoestring budget. All the money must have gone towards the women and the lighting.
Right.
It has all the emotional depth of a Love Boat episode.
Which you're obsessed with.
Well, it's true. I mean, I enjoyed this. I had a good time, but I don't think that many
Right.
people
Is
would.
What's it about? Is it about a book club?
It's about a book club
I'm sorry,
it's a bunch of old women, and they're all sort of at the end of their lives.
hold on to this. You're not going to believe where it's going.
Yeah. Okay. So the book they decide to do is 50 Shades of Grey.
You're kidding. That sexy book.
That's
for
naughty,
us, a
naughty.
bunch of old ladies.
No. So they read a naughty book and it jumpstarts all their lives, and they all find men, and they all.
That's such a good idea. Just making movies about book clubs where they read a famous
But it really does begin to seem like one long infomercial for and it seems like it was 50 Shades, and it seems like it was sort of made by the 50 Shades of Grey people.
It's a great spin-off concept.
It is. It's an interesting. The writing is atrocious. There's lots of my tired old pussy jokes, and then she'll look at her cat, and the cat will be lying there. And it never really rises
So it's a
above
comedy?
it. It's a comedy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And we all know that James St. James has a copyright on my tired old pussy jokes.
But it's just. If you like those women, I went to go see it with my mother, and my mom
Did she
loved
love it?
Yeah.
There you go.
See,
those are the kind of movies, I think, I don't know what the box office was, but that bring in people that don't necessarily go to the movies, right?
And, to get my mom out anymore is like planning D-Day. And so it was a big deal to get my mother to the movie. And then it was like,
well, for that alone.
For that, yes.
I'm glad they made the movie so your mom had a night out.
Yes,
and I'm
did.
sorry it was so much work for you.
Oh my goodness. But like I said, it's nice to see all these women getting work and
What's the box office like? Is it doing well?
I'll have to look.
Because I went to see Deadpool, and that was, I don't think the same people who are seeing Deadpool were.
Did you
also
see the
seeing
first
Book
one?
Club. Yeah, I'm going to talk
I
about
love
it.
the first
How
one.
was Candace Bergen in Deadpool?
She was really good.
Okay. There you
Well,
have it.
so Book Club is in theaters now.
Yes.
Okay, so number 8,
Number 8.
Taylor Swift's Reputation Stadium Tour.
Oh, I see her on TV. You see her in person. Okay. All right.
Billy, my husband, is the ticket whisperer.
Oh.
I think he just buys the most expensive ticket. So he bought this VIP experience.
Well, but
Can I just say, from following Billy on social media, I agree with you. He buys the most expensive tickets.
the VIP experience invitation was this package that was like a tablet, like thick. You opened the lid, and there was a TV screen inside it of Taylor just saying, "Oh, hi, if you're watching this, you bought the VIP experience, suckers."
But hold on one second. But Nolan, I must say, is meeting every celebrity of the 21st century.
Yes.
He really, very few children are given the
front row seats
yes,
to the
front row
21st
seats,
century
and
pop
hanging
culture.
out with Cher and J-Lo and Camila
I know,
Cabello.
so jaded. But you open this thing, because I got my experience of going to Taylor Swift just by looking at the VIP experience invitation. You open this thing, and it's a pop-out of the entire stage in the stadium. And you think, oh, well, that's cute, we're done. But no, then you lift up, and there's like, what is underneath? Like, it's your light-up electronic pass that is like sucking all your data out of you. And then underneath that, which we didn't even discover until like after the show, there's a sort of 500-page color book. But anyway, Edward is here because I was so pissed off at Taylor. I'm like, I'm not going to see her.
Why were you pissed at Taylor?
I just think there's something. I don't know. I've seen her before, and she was great, and I just didn't want to go again. So Edward's going to tell us about the show.
didn't go.
The show. I didn't go.
Didn't go. Oh,
So come here, Edward.
Yes, we're doing
Snuggle in. I'm gonna
putting
be
a
proud.
chair. Edward, for those of you
And-
listening, is very handsome. Assistant to Fenton, and Randy, and how was Taylor Swift? Let's give us an eyewitness account.
It was spectacular.
That's good to hear.
I am just going to heckle.
I
Oh.
can't talk to him about it because oh my gosh, she is incredible now. Like, she's not the best dancer, obviously.
She's not the best
She's
singer.
not the best singer,
She's
but
not the best.
She's such a perfectionist that she just nailed everything. Like, she seemed like she had to give this like crazy stadium tour. It's her first stadium tour. So
That has not sold out and is doing very
She's
poorly.
always-
no,
What?
it's 60,000 people
She
over
said
there.
she said she was gonna cancel it because it's
That
selling
is
out.
fake news. That's
No,
not
it's
true.
not.
There
It's been in
it was
every-
it was at Rose Bowl for 2 nights, sold out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Is she the new Britney then? Did she eclipse Britney? Because you are a Britney.
I'm a huge Britney Spears fan. That's that was my queen back.
God
Still
me.
is my queen back.
When Taylor shaves her head, then she'll be the new Britney. Not until.
But that was one of the best tours I've ever seen. It was incredible.
What about the snakes? Let's talk about the snakes.
There were snakes everywhere because that's her thing now is like snakes because everyone
'cause
called her a
she's a
snake.
sneaky snake,
So
yeah.
she put it in the tour. This huge she does look what you made me do, and this huge snake pops out from under the stage and just covers like the whole thing, and there's snakes all around.
And she started a new celebrity feud with that because Alaska is all about snakes too, and Alaska is furious.
Well, it's for the same reason because people call Alaska a snake.
Yeah, but Alaska.
Well, Tay said, I guess with the snakes, I wanted to send a message to you guys that if someone uses name calling to bully you, and even if a lot of people jump on board with it, that doesn't have to defeat you. It can strengthen you instead.
It was one
So
of the
you
best
become
parts.
a super snake. I don't know that that's the way to go.
I think Taylor Swift is an
Scale up.
amazing.
Get it?
She's an amazing PR person disguised as a pop star. Like she so.
She does write the songs, though.
But
She's
but it's all done
The
in a
haters
PR
gonna
way.
hate. Talk about sloppy songwriting. Once again, I'm sorry. That is the.
What do you expect in a song?
I expect like Sondheim. I expect Cole Porter. I expect.
You say potato,
Oh,
and I
I
say
say
potato. You say tomato.
This whole tour was about Reputation, her reputation, obviously
Sure.
is the name of the album. And you'll appreciate this. She brought out Shawn Mendes, who you
Okay.
love,
I'm in.
right?
I'm back in.
Okay.
You reeled me back in.
Brought him out. His song has the word Reputation in it, so they were singing to the whole crowd. It was so good.
And what do you think?
And then the next night,
is he
did you
gay?
go the next night too? Because
I
Billy
w-
went twice, right?
I didn't go. I wanted to, but I couldn't.
Edward?
Yeah.
She brought out Troy Sivan,
She brought
right?
Troy Sivan, and
Oh well, now you back again. Okay.
I met Troy on Sunday.
Did you?
Yes, he's
Sat next to him at
delightful.
brunch.
Yes,
Well, wait, isn't he
Yeah.
sleeping with?
I didn't know that.
I think so.
no, they're
Okay.
just friends.
Are you sure?
James.
Well, I'm
It's like
glad
a
you had.
reputation.
I'm glad you had a good time.
No,
my
wait,
God,
wait,
it
wait,
was
wait,
so
wait.
much-
My big question: is Shawn Mendes gay?
I think everyone wants him to be, but I don't know. He's
That's the thing.
he's-
All the twinks are not gay. It's
My
the
gaydar,
new
my
really
gaydar
straight
says
twinks.
no, no. Computer says no. I just, this is a tricky time because Taylor has had an unblemished career from the beginning up until the Kanye snake moment, and for one moment in her career, she was not in control of her PR, and she was getting bashed and bashed and bashed. But we do live in this insular world where her fan base, and there's nothing wrong with that, are like supporting her, and she's making hay
here's the-
of the snakeness.
Here's the thing. She is making hay out of a snake. She's scaling up. Okay? But there is something about Taylor that I can't quite put my finger on that just feels shady.
It's
she
cold.
always
She's
seems
very
to be
chilly.
the victim. She always seems to be
Yeah.
being attacked. She's always writing these negative songs about her ex-boyfriends. Always like poor her. And at some point you begin to think, really? It's
No,
she's
absolutely.
and also she has been spectacularly. I mean, lots of people have been silent about Trump, but she's been spectacularly silent about it. I know
because her 9/10 of her fan base is red state.
And then the other thing is like the number 13 is lucky for her. I think there's something of a witch about Taylor Swift.
I find her very chilly. I don't find any
She's
warmth
born
there.
on December 13th. She turned 13 on Friday the 13th. Her first album went gold in 13 weeks. She paints a 13 on her hand before every show she does. She does say it's really weird. And every time she wins an award, which seems to be every day,
Yes.
she sits in the 13th row seat section or in row M, which is the 13th letter. Oh. And her first number one
scared.
single. Had
I'm
a 13
scared.
second in
She was in
July.
the front row at the Billboard Awards. That wasn't 13th row.
Maybe she was the
Maybe she was
third.
13th.
They took out seats in front of her.
I don't know. I mean, because Reputation is great. I like that lyric, like, I don't trust nobody and nobody trusts me. I'll be the actress. What is it? I'll be the actress living in your bad dreams.
Living in your bad dreams.
That, to me, is Taylor.
You have been hypnotized.
I just appreciate her with the whole pop spectacle of it. I love the
Yes.
songs. I love the shows. I'm not into like the 13 stuff. I just like the show.
You're not a witch or anything.
She puts on a good show.
Yeah, she put on a great show.
Anything other than snakes? I mean,
Well, it was at the Rose Bowl, so it's huge. It's huge floor seats, and so she had this huge stage, which the whole screens just moved around. And then at one point, she got on this little carriage thing, and it
snake
took
thing, right?
Yeah, it
With
was
little
like
snake
designed as a
diamonds.
snake, and it took her from the end of the stage all the way to the other side of the stage, and she had 2 separate stages on there to perform in front of everyone.
So she crossed the entire stage.
She crossed the entire stage twice, and then she walked in the crowd to the other stage. She just wanted it to all feel intimate.
And I do
So,
love
like,
that
she had
staging because you always everybody has good tickets that way.
Yes, if I was performing in front of 60,000, I would want it to feel intimate.
Well, remember when we saw
just bitter.
Katy Perry and she sort of flew over the crowd?
Yes, on
You
big clouds.
Yeah,
That's what they do. in
Oh, yeah,
stadium
that was
tours.
nice.
I mean, the Stones did it. They pop up here and there with little stages to make it feel on team.
That concert blew Katie's out of the water, though. That was something else.
Why do we have to pit our pop goddesses against each other?
I know, never
What
mind.
about Beyonce? Like that, her stadium tour was pretty epic.
Yeah, I mean, it was at the Rose Bowl too, so it was the same thing. Like, it was just such a huge show. It's Beyonce, category. It's just so. But
Okay.
I liked it.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you.
We have to take a quick break. Okay, so here's our quick. I think this one's too easy, but growing up, Taylor Swift was a big fan of which RuPaul's Drag Race season 10 guest judge? Actually, maybe it isn't so easy. Anyway, you're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
In a world on the brink of chaos, where fear is the rule of the land,
We will build the wall.
the voices of a generation have banded together. Bianca Del Rio, Adore Delvado, Valentina, Latrice Royale, and Detox, with the supermodel of the world, RuPaul. To give our planet what it needs. Baby drag queens.
Yes, set phasers to stunning.
Ooh, snap.
Oh, maybe you're just not cut out to be a real queen.
Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
What day are you supposed to be, cornball?
I'm a Taurus day.
That's not even.
Glitter powers activate.
My best friends in the entire world made this dress for me out of love and kindness and sisterhood. It's priceless and it's not for sale.
I'll give you $10,000.
Sold.
Yeah!
I'm still offended.
But give me a taco.
Crunch, 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 crunch.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fender Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder. I'm here with Tom Campbell and James St. James.
Hello.
And of course, Blake.
Hi.
And we just had Edward, my assistant, on telling us about Tay-Tay's concert.
Such a little cutie.
Now he's back at the desk
That's
answering
it.
your phone.
Back at the Siberian
Yes.
salt mine. So, growing up, the question was before the break, growing up, Taylor Swift was a big fan of which RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10 guest judge?
I'm suddenly blanking. I'm going to say Reba McEntire, but I don't even think she was there.
She wasn't on.
Okay.
And I was going to say Todrick Hall, but of course she wasn't growing up when she was
they
a big
didn't-
fan.
I was
of-
thinking that.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Christina Aguilera.
Or Carson Kressley.
It's Carson Kressley. No, it's Shania Twain.
Of course.
Good guy.
She said that in an interview that Twain's music made her want to just run around the block 4 times and daydream about everything.
Whose bed have your boots
I feel I was really mean about Taylor. Like her
you
songs
were.
are
Yeah, you
amazing.
were.
I was.
She's not listening.
No,
Don't
you
know,
are.
I just-
You are
but
not
she's listening.
mean.
But I
She-
just didn't want to see the show. I don't know. I think I'm just getting grumpy and old.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's
I'll
catching.
buy that.
But we're counting down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow!
And
Or-
we've reached number 7, Tom.
Number 7.
You know, it's the age of reboots. You know, first Fuller House, then Will and Grace, then Roseanne, biggest show in television.
Murphy Brown.
Murphy Brown is about to happen with Candace Bergen. But I realize that there is one classic sitcom that needs to be rooted
WKRP
right now.
in Cincinnati.
Who's the Boss?
Oh, you went to go see it?
They're all alive. They all have their hair. And I'm stealing the idea from an incredible drag show that I saw this weekend at Casita del Campo at the Cavern Theater.
Which is an amazing venue in LA.
It is. I want to talk about
tiny,
it.
yeah.
But they did Who the Boss. And Jackie Beat wrote it, and it's sort of I think she took the pilot episode and the second episode.
She's so brilliant.
Brilliant. And it's the most sexist, out of date. Of course she enhances it, but like it's so tone deaf to what today is. Like Angela, it's all about a man working for a woman. And so Jackie Beat plays Angela Bauer, which was originally played by Judith Light. Mario Diaz, who's so handsome, plays Tony Danza. Tony Michelli, hey, he plays it like this the whole time. And he either had something stuffed in the front of his pants
or it really is him.
It's really want to spend more time with Mario. And Nadia Ginsburg, who we know and love, who does a great Madonna and Cher. She played Alyssa Milano. See him. She did like she was the tomboy daughter of Tony Michelli.
Wait, but who then was Katherine Hellman?
Sherry Vine.
Oh God, yes.
Played Mona, and it's because her character was all like dick jokes, so it's like at one point they're like, "We get it, it's dick, we get it."
But then the big get here.
I am bearing the headline. Danny Pintura originally played Jonathan, Judith Light's son, who was just a cute bullheaded kid when it started, and as the years went on, it was on for quite a while. He just was so clearly, as we were too, as young, the gayest little boy on earth.
I'm the gayest boy on television.
But it was never really mentioned. And Danny returns to play Jonathan. The original Danny Pintura is playing the original
and
Jonathan.
He's wearing like a wig, like a
Prince Valiant kind of wig, and they play up his gayness. And I guess in the original show, that character was obsessed with reptiles and snakes. And he's like, what a great idea to give the gayest kid on earth, like reptiles and snakes.
Hey, but that's sort of a running theme in our show today.
It is snakes. Yeah, and if you're tired of us being grumpy, it's like, now my sister is visiting, and not only did we sit by Troye Sivan at a brunch, which was so lucky, and I was so happy, and I'll talk more about him another time. It was Brett McLaughlin, who's the songwriter, works on RuPaul's Drag Race, but writes for Troy, has wrote his biggest hits, My. He's writes for Selena Gomez. He had sort of a enclave of gay.
It was power networking, wasn't it?
It was power networking. I was the oldest one there, and I asked all of the songwriters there, I interrupted and did the ding, ding, ding. I was very obnoxious, and I said that Lip Sync for Your Life songs are on the new ones are on the endangered species list, and I implored all of them who are songwriters and write for the biggest acts to write songs with key changes and moments for death drops. Thank you.
Okay. And I suppose James would add sort of more lyrical sophistication.
Yes. And don't rhyme Havana with Atlanta. And sitting next to me at Casita del Campo, because it's such a fun venue. It's like 50 people. It's a fire trap.
It's a death trap.
Yes.
It really is.
It's the most avant-garde gay theater happens there. It may be
Lady Bunny performs there all the time.
Yeah, it's a lot. Jackie Beat does it. It's very drag friendly, and it's a very gay friendly place.
It's amazing the way it's become this sort of go-to place, right? And it is just a room in a basement
in
that
Silver
is
Lake.
tiny.
Of a Mexican restaurant.
Where you eat before and you're so gassy down below. And it's sort of it's what I imagine the East Village. It's like an East Village
Mama.
club.
It's it's like.
And it definitely maybe gayer place per capita than World of Wonder. It may be the only place in LA that's slightly gayer than where we are right now. But it was amazing. And I sat next to it. And when people come in, I'm like, welcome to our row. Because you have to climb over each other and you're trying to. Patricia Arquette.
Oh, okay.
Who I believe Fenton.
You live in her house.
I live in her house.
Does she know it? No.
I
Fenton bought his house from Patricia Arquette. And she was there. And I think she's friends with Jackie, probably because of Alexis.
Yeah.
And she was having you just go, you have a belly laugh. My sister's not a prude, but she's not as immersed in the gay drag world as we are. And I brought her to this thing, and Jackie Beat is filthy and hilarious.
Yes.
And I just said, and my sister goes, that was great fun. I mean, you feel like you've had some kind of cleanse because you just laugh from such a guttural place.
You're giving your sister an amazing time.
Yes.
She's seeing it all.
Oh, I know. So, Who the Boss? I think it might still be playing at it's done.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Sunday night.
But I guess the takeaway then is Casita del Campo, the Mexican restaurant and server, underneath the Cavern Theater. Look
and
online.
anything Jackie Beat.
It was a big hit. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought it back.
But if it's not that Love Connie is there, Lady Bunny comes when Dina Martinez in town. She performs there from Seattle.
The Unitard.
Yes.
But I know Jackie Beat has she did the Golden Girls. Remember?
Yeah.
She did different episodes, and she would come back, and so they might come back and do different episodes.
Brand new life. Brand new life.
Brand new life around the bend.
Moving on, number 6, James.
Number 6.
I watched a documentary on Netflix, but I really ask everybody to spend. I really think that everybody should watch this one. This is really fantastic. It's about Jules. It's called Jules Catch One.
Oh.
Why? What do you have?
It says here, does it fart?
No, that's the next one, darling.
Oh, sweetie. Okay, so sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm not imploring everybody to watch Does It Fart?
I thought, Netflix documentary? Does it fart?
No, it's called Jules Catch One, and it's about the legendary nightclub here in Los Angeles called Catch One that had been around for 46 years. It started in the early 70s, pre-disco era. It was a woman named, hold on one second.
Where is this? Where is
It's on
it?
Pico. Okay, we went there. Rue had a party. Madonna had a party there.
It was big in the 80s and 90s. It was in my awareness in the 80s
It
and 90s.
opened in 1973. A woman named Jewel Thace Williams, a lesbian of color, who she wanted to open a place for lesbians of color because there was nothing on the West Coast for that. And so she opened it, and very soon it became all the LGBTQ, the whole rainbow started showing up. It was sort of like what the Paradise Garage was in New York, what the Warehouse was in Chicago.
The reputation was it was a place to go and dance.
And there was a no camera policy. So Madonna, Sandra Bernhard, Sharon Stone, all are in this documentary talking about it going in the 80s, and how nobody would pay any attention to them, and everybody would just, because everyone was dancing. It became a place once disco hit, where like Evelyn Champagne King debuted Shame on the dance floor there to get the reactions, and A&R companies would bring, and celebrities would bring their songs to break it there to gauge people's reaction, and it became like the go-to place in the disco era. Then, but at the same time, because it was in the 1970s, the cops were trying to bust it down every single night. They would go in for whatever reasons with flashlights and shake everybody down, haul people off to jail just for being gay. There was a rule at the time that women could not bartend unless they were the owners of the establishment. So it was just this, there was a lot of like problems and everything. Then once AIDS came along in the 80s, it became ground zero for that. And Jewel, what a saint. She was one of the first people people would come in. She would hug them when nobody else would hug them.
Wouldn't touch them.
Nobody would touch them. The cops stopped breaking it down because they wouldn't go any place where AIDS was. So they stopped fucking with her because there were people with AIDS in the building and they didn't want to go in the building. And she would open up rooms upstairs and she would feed them and house them. And she was just this wonderful, wonderful woman. And then in the 90s and 2000s, she continued on. She ended up owning a soup kitchen next door and a restaurant and a hotel in which she let everybody stay there and fed everybody in the neighborhood. She's just an amazing woman. It's just a fascinating documentary.
Is the club still open?
It closed. There was a big problem. About 3 years ago, I think, is when it closed, and she finally just ran out of money and everything like that.
Yeah, I got to go about 3 years ago. It was at the very end, but I was lucky enough to get to go one time.
And there was like that last night when it was just like a big blowout, and everybody from like the 60s and 70s and everybody showed up. And the problem with the documentary is that she never allowed any photography in it, so there's very little.
But it sounds like an amazing lineup of interviews and testimonials.
Maxine Waters talks. Sharon Stone, like I said, Sandra Bernhard. You see her from the interviews from the 60s on up to like now, and she's like in her early 80s, maybe.
So she's still around then?
She's still around, and she's sort of like the legend of the neighborhood, I mean, it's something that like I knew about this club, and I remember Madonna had a party there for Ray of Light, I think it was, and Rue went, and we all went with Rue, and it's shag carpet on the ceilings, and it's like hasn't changed. The decor hasn't changed since 1973. And so,
so what is it now? I wonder.
Well, now it's a techno club, and, but she's very enthusiastic about keeping it as a club, and the guy who owns it now is very reverential towards her, and so it still has a gay following and everything. But,
and what is the name of the dog?
It's called Jules Catch One.
Jules Catch One.
Her name is Jewel Thea Williams or something like that.
Streaming
I know
on Netflix.
it's a way off, but we should consider her for a Wowie Award.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah, really, really an amazing woman and an amazing story.
I love it. I want to see it now. Thank you.
Number 5.
Impossible to follow. I went to see Deadpool 2.
No, had you seen Deadpool 1?
I'd seen Deadpool 1.
Did you love it? I loved it.
I loved it. I mean, I guess I've had the wrong idea about Ryan Reynolds. His entire
many
career,
people
I thought he
have.
was in soppy movies. I thought he was just a boring icon.
He had a slump for many years in
was
which he
that
did a bunch of
movie?
crap.
Yeah, he was in I guess I didn't even write it down.
Well, he did Green Lantern, which was a flop. He did a bunch of rom-coms. He did that one with Sandra Bernhard.
So, and I suppose it's just so judgmental of me that I expected someone so good looking just to be kind of dull.
It must be hard to be that good looking because people make those assumptions of you.
But the beauty of Deadpool is that he's not good looking, and so you can't rely on your looks for the role.
And he's so brilliant, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, but I think that's really interesting, like how a really good-looking, a matinee idol, if you will, manages to break out of
Can
that.
Charlize
and
Theron
deliver-
herself to an Oscar?
Yes, I mean, I think that's really interesting of like defying typecastingness.
I love
right?
turning Charlize Theron into a verb. That's my favorite thing that's happened on the show ever.
He did have a say in all the quips and everything.
Yes,
he
and
was
he's
writing
he's
it, so
acknowledged as a not acknowledged. He's credited as a writer.
And if you follow him on Twitter, he is that funny. He is hysterical on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah.
He actually tweeted a thing about from a guy who never knows when to quit. He tweeted this when Avengers Infinity Wars debuted. From a guy who never knows when to quit. I'm glad you guys never did. Congrats, Avengers. And with that tweet, he had a rejection letter from Tony Stark to Deadpool rejecting him for because he applied to be in the Avengers, and Stark replied, "Go bother Professor X."
That's good.
It's cute, right? I mean, and I think that sort of the Deadpool outfit is kind of
I
sexy.
think he's
It's a little
very-
Spider-Man-y,
yeah.
you know, and it's not too
that
muscly,
butt, yeah.
and it's just kind of nice, right?
Uh-huh.
But I have to say, I fell asleep during the movie. I did because I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. There's the Marvel universe, you know, has reached a point where I actually I guess can't really follow it
I told
anymore.
you that when I saw Infinity War, and I
Right.
had no idea what it was. I got so bored.
Don't they make them that you can just sort of show up and enjoy
Yes,
a
and this
mindless
is
couple of
the-
hours?
And this is the anti-superhero
Yes.
movie, which I also think is really interesting that Marvel not only has captured the whole superhero market, but they've also captured the
Right,
the
they're
backlash
parodying
market.
it
They
as well.
own their own
Yeah.
parody.
And DC,
So it's-
meanwhile, just can't make a
seem
good
to get
movie
a-
to save their lives.
I know, I feel so
Oh,
badly
terrible.
for them.
I mean, they do have television, so
Yeah, but isn't because Gotham is based on
Batman. It's young Batman, and then
right.
there's Supergirl, then there's The Flash, and then there's Arrow, and then there's Legends of
Supergirl's
Tomorrow.
pretty good.
So they have what? No, they,
the stuff you know.
I know,
That's-
it's
and you
true.
know it like, wow.
But they do. They have 4 nights of programming in which they dominate.
So impressed with you.
Thank you, darling.
I mean, I'm trying to think of something else to say about Deadpool. It's yeah. Oh well.
Oh, you know what? You know what the big takeaway is?
Yes.
Who's McCall is in it? The old lady, the old blind lady is not Liv Ullmann.
Marley Matlin?
No.
June is busting out all over.
No.
She
Um.
Leslie Uggams.
Leslie Uggams. Yes.
June is busting out all
Is
over.
that her?
That's the one where she forgot the words. And there's a viral tape of her in the 90s in Washington, D.C. Like, ladies and gentlemen, Leslie Uggams. She's like, June is busting out all over. You gotta look it up. It's really funny.
But Leslie Uggams, who's been around since the dawn of creation, and I used to have the little Leslie Uggams songbook when she was like 14 years old.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Well, Deadpool in theaters now, Deadpool 2, I should say, and we got to take a quick break. So here's our question.
I hope it wasn't a Leslie Uggams question because James would have ruined that.
Ryan Reynolds, who plays Wade Wilson, what has he got, the Merc with a mouth?
Yes.
Yes. He also plays some other roles in this movie. He plays more than one character in Deadpool 2. Who does he play? You're listening to Wow Report on Radio and SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
I love all the exclusive content you can see on Wow Presents Plus, right from your mobile device or any device, really, that supports mobiles. And guess what? It's $3.99 a month for the whole subscription.
Well, that's less than a small popcorn at the movies.
You're right, Kami, you stupid. And there's so many wonderful shows that you can watch on the Wow Presents Plus streaming app, such as Cool Mom, Season 2 of Cool Mom, and the upcoming season of Cool Mom. Cool Mom!
Don't you love when we get to sit down and eat popcorn and watch Wow Presents Plus together?
Subscribe to Wow Presents Plus. I've got kids to feed.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton. I'm here with Tom and James St. James and Blake. We've been counting down the top 10 things that made us go, wow, this week. And we were just talking about Deadpool 2, which is actually really funny. You
rip things apart in your segment, and then you correct them when you come back from commercial.
It's
your right.
That's my thing. That's your thing. That's my MO. But before the break, the question was, Ryan Reynolds plays Wade Wilson. He's very good, very hot, very sexy. But he also plays other characters in the movie. Did you know that? He plays more than one role.
Did not.
What are we talking about?
I didn't see the movie yet, so I'm feeling a little lost. I think he plays the news anchor.
Blake, on your iPhone, did you see Deadpool 2?
I haven't even seen the first one.
Oh, well, this is a ridiculous question.
James is texting like a trick or something. I don't know what's going on.
You can watch this show, by the way, on the Wow Report /Radio Andy.
To see that no one's paying attention to Fenton right now. Fenton, what's the answer, please?
Okay, the answer is, because you've waited long enough, he plays a young, hopeful version of himself.
Oh.
Yes, he's reading the script for the Green Lantern. And then he gets shot by Deadpool. He also plays the version of Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins. Who also gets shot by Deadpool.
Oh, so that's a funny joke.
He also plays the return of fan favorite mutant Juggernaut.
I don't know.
That's 3 years. So he plays 4 roles.
I'm sure he's speaking English. I know each individual word, but the sentences don't make any sense to me.
I don't know what's going on.
Number 4.
Number 4.
I, with my sister, who's getting
she's never going to leave.
She's never going to leave. On Saturday night, we saw at the Fonda Theater here in Hollywood, down the street.
Poor thing needs to sleep.
Todrick Hall's show Forbidden.
Oh.
Now, it's hard to keep up with Todrick.
I know.
Because he's so incredibly talented and prolific. You know, last year, he did Straight Outta Oz.
What's the difference between prolific and prodigious?
Prodigious is super talented, which he is, by the way.
Okay.
Prodigiously talented.
Is he prodigious and prolific then? Could he
He's
be both?
prodigious and prolific and proficient and professional.
And profound.
And precocious.
And prolapse. No, that's just a joke that Rue's saying a lot lately. I'm sorry. So
is he a prolapse Catholic?
Why do I even write things down? So Forbidden, like Beyonce, seriously, Todrick does these visual albums that he drops, that he makes like in no time at all, but like I think there are 22 songs on his recent visual album Forbidden. It debuted at number 1 on the iTunes charts. There is a fan base for this guy. It's amazing.
He's a huge star.
And Forbidden is his most ambitious project to date, and it's 30 songs in a 2-hour visual album, and he has guest stars. I mean, everyone loves him. Brandy is on it, and she sings. RuPaul does a thing. Tamar Braxton's in it. Tiffany Haddish and Jennifer Lewis make an appearance. So he brings all these people, plus all these dancers. It's like a reimagining to me on my old references of like an MGM musical. You know, like there's this incredible amount of production value. And it is the idea that he created a world that he spelled America backwards, and it's Narcarema, and it's a world where you imagine that being black is the norm, and being gay and lesbian is the norm. And so it starts off. The first song is here. It is every place else, but the first song is "Ordinary Day," and it's like the happiest kind of like Debbie Reynolds, like it's an ordinary day, and everyone's in 50s and saying hello, but you realize it's men with men and women with women, and there's a white guy walking with an ice cream cone, and people are looking out the window. And it's little girls, and the policeman comes up.
This is America.
Shoots him, and the ice cream's on the ground, and it's just like, and then everybody goes back to what they're doing. You know, we talked a lot about Donald Glover's video, which is this exactly this America, which is so kind of brutal in its imagery, and Todrick's is the opposite because it's such beauty, and he'll celebrate the things too. But like, you know, he said to me once, he said he had just seen 12 Years a Slave a few years ago, and he said, I've always, you know, I've seen so much historical filmmaking of black people being beaten
abused,
and killed, and he goes, I want to do something where you turn that around. He goes, I want to see that not in like an evil but like what, you know, the idea of what would it look like with the shoes on the other foot? What if white people were like getting, you know,
it's
lynched?
Such a great idea. A few years ago, I guess in maybe a decade at least, when Diesel were doing all those provocative ad campaigns, they did one in which they imagined in South Africa, all the black people were the rich and the wealthy ones, and all the white people lived in townships, and like just sort of reversed the whole thing.
Well, you know, Family Guy recently did an episode where Stewie and Brian went to the multiverse, and they went to a place where dogs were the masters and the babies were the pets.
That's lovely. But I mean, it's amazing to go to Todrick show because everybody knows the material. They go and the videos play, and he's performing live. He has the most talented people working with him. It is a Screamfest, and check it out. It's on YouTube. It's free. It's not just downer stuff at all. He has love songs in it. There's a song called "Type," which is about I'm just the type of person that always gets like put down. It's just a beautiful, vulnerable song, and there is a kick-ass dance track that I insist we play on the way out to commercial with RuPaul, and it's not just because RuPaul, because it mostly features Todrick and a little bit of like unicorn drag, and it's called Dem Beats, and they don't make them beats like they used to. They don't make them beats. It's just this incredible dance anthem, and you can, Todrick Hall's Forbidden is on YouTube. You can stream it. He just finished a huge American tour, and he will be in Europe, in London, Germany, Japan, New Zealand, and Australia, and I swear to God, it's like the dates are a day apart. That's like
he's
really time shifting.
That is so
Todrick
great.
is a force of nature.
Yep. Yeah.
Really is amazing and inspiring.
Todrick Hall Forbidden.
James, try and follow that up. Number 3.
Number 3.
Well, another kind of nature. We have a book that just came out called "Does It Fart?"
I've been waiting for this the whole show.
Yeah, I know you have. It's by it's called The Definitive Field Guide to Animal Flatulence by let me see, Danny Rabbiati and Nick Caruso. It's let me see. From Amazon, it says, dogs do it, millipedes do it, dinosaurs did it, you do it, I do it. Octopuses don't, nor do octopi. Spiders might do it. We need more research. Birds don't do it, but if they could, if they wanted to. Herrings do it to communicate with each other. And
so that's what this show is. Just some herrings sitting around there.
And so I thought we would play a little game, and you might have to bear with me a minute as I find some of these. But I'm going to ask you if they do or don't, and you're going to tell me.
This isn't a scratch and sniff kind of thing, is it?
No, but what a good idea.
The book, James, did you read the book?
I've ordered it, and so it came out in the end of April, and so I should be
I was wondering if it says anything more other than just who farts and who doesn't.
Well, no, but it gives you descriptions of their farts, and it tells you what they smell like and everything. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. For instance, soft shell crabs, do they or don't they?
I think they don't.
They don't, but they can puke.
Okay.
So
they're like you that way. Yeah.
Let's see. Termites.
Yes, I think they're very farty. Or like gassy wood they're eating.
Exactly. Yes, and in fact, they say that it's not only do they fart a lot, and it might be contribute to the greenhouse effect.
Damn you, termites!
Yeah. Let's see. Rats.
Yes.
Yeah, and they smell worse than dog farts. Just so you know.
Dog farts.
Wait a minute. You guys don't like dog farts? Am I alone on this one?
Let's see. Millipedes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yes, of the silent but deadly
doing
variety.
good.
Yeah,
a lot of methane is involved in that.
Sure.
Let me see. There was some.
While you're finding another example of something that farts, James, how many farts in the history of mankind have there been? Do you know?
How many?
It's actually known. It's actually known. You can Google it. 17 quadrillion farts in the history of mankind.
Did you go like, hey Siri, how many farts?
I was actually started out with how many farts a day, because apparently 14 farts a day is the healthy norm. You remember that show we were developing where it was like there were the questions, the gross questions?
Yes.
What, do you remember the one about farts? It was like, how many gallons do you inhale of farts a day? I just can't remember the answer. That's what I was trying to look up.
Big.
It's a lot. It's like 64 gallons.
Okay, since we're killing time, when I was like in high school with my friends like Richie and Bill, the big thing was people that had basements. Our basement you couldn't use. It was like wet and damp. But people had like new houses with like basements. And that's where we'd watch HBO because it had tits. And then we'd have sleepovers. And, I was the only gay one, but we were always like, horsing around. And the big thing was to light your farts. Did you ever do that?
I've never have, darling.
Through the underwear, lighter, and then fart, and it would be. It's a little thing,
like a blue light.
No, it's like a torch.
No,
isn't it dangerous though? Can't you get blowback of some kind?
I'm sure you can. I'm sure we were taking our lives in our hands, but I was enjoying it.
Domestic hedgehogs. I'm just very quickly.
The hedgehogs. I would say yes.
Yeah, but if they eat fish, it's even worse. I don't know why they would be eating fish.
I have a new book coming out called "Which Animals Are Lactose Intolerant," and it's fascinating reading. Where did you find? Like, does it come up on your Amazon recommend?
You may also like.
Yeah. Did you? Was it some Imodium you got and it had a little like a sticker on it? Like, how did you find out about the fart book?
I don't know how I end up with these places, but
and you really ordered it.
Yeah, I really did. Well, we're being told to wrap it up, but it's just.
Well, you weren't really going anywhere with it, James. You were just checking your
No,
email.
that's not true.
I think so.
No, that's not true.
This book may not exist.
I told you it might take a few minutes for me to find some because it was a huge spreadsheet that I found. They had like hundreds of things. And I was trying to find the ones that were most interesting.
I can't wait to see the movie version with Ryan
with Candace
Reynolds.
Bergen, Diane Keaton.
It's that Swiss Army Man movie. Remember where the cart?
Right? Yes.
All right.
Which I still think got robbed at the Oscars.
And what, that was number
number 3.
Wow.
So I think.
Wow. Number 3. Wow.
Miniscope. So okay, here we are. Number 2.
Number 2.
James, you assigned me this, so you're gonna have to help me out. But I mean, Pansy Beat. Pansy Beat was this queer zine in the 90s.
Why do we not have a copy?
I know, it's upstairs in my office. It's this queer zine in the 90s by a fabulous artist called Michael Economy.
Oh,
and
it was
I didn't
amazing.
realize this, but he moved back to New York from Tokyo. He's living in Tokyo, and he's like, what do I do next? And some friends suggested you do a fanzine. He was inspired by Linda Simpson's
My Comrade. Yeah.
which was another quintessential queer zine of this period, because this is a time, I mean, once upon a time, before the social medias, and the glossy magazines ruled, right? They had a sort of Loctite grip on culture and media, and the only way for alternative culture to really get out there was through queer zines, also fanzines.
Sort of
It was
cheaper paper.
homemade, self-Xeroxed, stapled together, self-distributed. They would be in arty bookshops, $5 a piece, right?
But it was also at the time when gay culture was beginning to have a voice because of the AIDS movement, and
That's
there was a lot of feeling that being subversive was a political statement, and it was we were doing something
Being
important.
out and
being out
heard.
loud and being proud and everything. So it gave the drag queens sort of a power that they hadn't had before.
I mean, I suppose I don't really know when fanzines started, but I always
I was thinking the punk era.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
In the
That they must have been a
70s.
punk thing, a sort of finger to the establishment media, and like a do-it-yourself ethos. And that's absolutely what the Pansy Beat, which only lasted, I think, for four issues.
Yeah, 4 issues.
4 issues.
From 89 to 90 is when it was.
Right.
But it had such an impact, and it was something that, like, I remember that there was, Lady Miss Keir was right at the rise of, Delight. Yeah, she was interviewed. Lady Bunny looking svelte and young and about like a twink. My God.
So it was a very long time ago.
A very long time ago.
Billy Beyond. I remember that beautiful picture
cover
taken by Michael Fazakli of Billy Beyond, whose beautiful boy with little devil horns.
One of the prettiest boys of the scene back in the day.
Definitely.
I mean,
Disco modeling school, right?
Disco
Is that
modeling
right?
school, yeah.
Which was David LaChapelle, Billy Beyond,
Jashiba Tofuti, Gina
Yeah.
Gorlina, Gina Gorlina. No, Gina Gorgelina. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's
an
a beautiful
amazing
name.
pool
Gina
of talent.
Gorgelina.
Yeah, and they all wore Body Map. That's all they wore.
What is that?
Right.
Body Map. What is Body Map? What is Body Map? Body Map was the. I mean, you talk about Steven Sprouse or Gautier or something like that, but Body Map was the coolest designing duo
Body map.
Never
Body
heard
map.
of it.
No. But that's because you aren't cool enough to have known about it. Because let me tell you, they would not. If you weren't cool enough, they wouldn't let you buy it.
So
They
is
would
it a
let
label? Like,
Yes, it was a label. They would not let you wear it unless you were cool enough to be part of
James,
the
did
Did
you
they
have
related
any-
to Body Glove? Like, didn't they do?
No. Body gloves. No.
Was
Steve,
did you ever own or wear
I wasn't
any?
allowed to. I wasn't cool enough.
That's what I wanted to hear.
But Sprouse, it was this era of Sprouse
Yes.
and Body. And you're right, James. It was the beginning of the sort of downtown culture becoming what really has now become the mainstream media, right?
So what? Why
Yeah.
bring this up? I mean, I
But-
love knowing about this, but
thank
what's the
you.
occasion?
Very good point. They've gathered the 4 issues together into an amazing volume, which you can now buy as a book. Called Pansy Beats.
Somebody actually
Finally.
held on to the original 4.
Finally got to
Yeah,
the
Michael
point.
Economy probably. But I
Yeah.
do remember there was a very famous when Kenny took Quentin Crisp out to lunch. Remember there was that interview.
Yes.
They got a lot of. There was a Lee Bowery. Lady Bunny did Lee
Right.
Bowery, but right before he died, it was. So it has. It's a moment in time. It's a.
So you've seen the
Snapchat.
book that's in your office.
I've seen the book. It's in
and
my
is it
office.
color or black and white
It's
or what's
black and white?
No, it's a silver. It's just, isn't it? It's silver.
Silver. Okay, silver is black and white, basically. Isn't
Well, no,
it?
but it's like
a silvery, but it's basically black and white,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it? And illustrative, and it's very, very good. I mean, I think it's appropriate that we're talking about this just a day after Interview Magazine is closed.
What?
What?
James? Interview Magazine's closed down.
Well, it's been past its time for quite some time now.
No, I think they were facing huge debts, Me Too harassment suits. They just closed the whole thing down.
Me Too interview?
Yeah, I think there was like some harassment, libel-y. Go look it up. don't
Bury
ask
the
me.
headline.
Yeah, I know. I was going to talk about Interview Magazine, but we could do that.
I'm going to
in
make a
another
book out of my old
show.
copies and sell it for thousands of dollars.
You know, actually, Michael Economy said one thing. He said, the whole point about Pansy Beat was that it was unashamed sissy shit. I love that.
Yeah.
Unashamed sissy shit. It's hard to say. Unashamed sissy shit.
But it had a definite point of view that was really one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so talented. So
Amazing.
talented.
He did Pop Tarts album, Gagging on Lovely Extravaganza, which was a Lady Miss Keir sentence. And he did a lovely sort of pink pig illustration for the cover. And the
But
record.
we should find
was a
him and maybe do
huge
an
hit.
interview or
You mean the
something.
fabulous
That's a great idea.
Pop Tarts, Randy and Fenton's rock band, the fabulous Pop Tarts
just
available on YouTube.
going on
The
about
fabulous Pop Tarts.
The poor man's tears for fears is what we call them.
It's time for a break. I know it's time for a break. Oh
we
no.
do. This is American on Radio Andy SiriusXM. James will not be here when we come back.
But we'll be discussing the number one thing that made us go.
Wow!
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
How's that latte, sis? Oh my God, sis. You know what? It's actually pretty good. You know, I only paid $3.99.
Just $3.99?
Yeah.
What else can you do with $3.99?
Well, I couldn't possibly afford you, but I could definitely afford a monthly subscription to Wow Presents Plus.
Oh my God, $3.99? That's cheap. Like me.
And you can have access to all exclusive content.
Ad-free.
Ad-free.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. Fuck you, James St. James.
The bitterness lasted through the commercial.
The poor man's tears
Oh,
for
wow.
fears. I thought you were going to say the poor man's Pet Shop Boys, because that was a.
Oh, is that what people, is that you were frequently compared to?
Yes. But anyway, moving on, we've come to the number one thing that made us go wow, this week.
Wow. Thank you, Blake. Blake is
still
following the
in.
rules.
Wait, I don't even know
He's
what this
doing
is.
his
I can
wow.
only imagine what it is because it can only be one thing.
I will set it up because we have, we were live. We pre-taped from DragCon, so we took a week off. We haven't seen each other, and something very important or not, depending on your opinion, has happened. And I'm going to give you a clue as I take my hat and put it on my forehead as a fascinator.
Number one.
Philip Tracy, Royal Wedding.
No, just the royal wedding in general. Like I'll just start off. I try to avoid this stuff. I'm always amazed how the morning shows, even Gayle King, is just like, this is so romantic. I can't wait. And part of me really wanted to just not look, and I wasn't going to wake up early, and I didn't. But then part of me is like, the fact that a biracial Meghan Markle is entering this royal family, whether you like the institution or not, it's an institution that is being broken apart. And, representation, which everybody wants in this world. They want to see themselves and see
the crowd was incredibly diverse.
Well, and the BBC compared the crowd to Trump's crowd at his inauguration. They did a
side-by-side.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So I'm just curious. And by the way, Fenton, if you want to talk like this, because Fenton could be our royal watcher, because every television station had someone who was a royal watcher. People you'll never see again.
And they all spoke in those very fake English.
Yes.
Hello, Governor. Yes, that.
It was extraordinary. And even the LA local news, the weather girl was wearing a big floppy flouncy hat. I was like, what the fuck?
I do want to say, though, that the wedding itself was one of the most bizarre spectacles I have ever seen the royal family be a part of.
Pourquoi?
Because, first of all, you had all the fall, all the, those types.
Yep.
And then you had that Reverend Jeremiah, the deep Southern Baptist, who was fire and brimstone, and he was banging on.
Well, he was love is love is love, too.
Love is love, but it turned into word salad at a certain point, and it was the bit.
Doesn't it always?
It was
on
a
this
little.
show.
It was gobbledygook, and you could see Camilla look at Charles, and Charles look at Camilla. You'd see all these like royals going, "What is going on?" They were horrified.
I didn't know if they were horrified. Maybe
they were.
Maybe like Tom said, that you could understand the individual words, but the whole thing made no sense.
No. But I don't think that the royal that the royals are used to that sort of warmth.
I was going to say like as if I am one of the
royals. But the
we're
Church
not very
of,
touchy-feely.
The Church of England is like the Episcopalians. They're the frozen chosen is what they're called. And
so funny.
And so it's
Frozen
very much they're very
chosen.
reserved, and their sermons are always blah, blah, blah. So to have this happen in a Church of England, it was it was crazy. You also had like Elton John sort of falling asleep and then rolling. And then you just had all sorts of weird elements to it. And then, like I said, just the whole idea of Meghan herself is...
But, it was Princess Diana who really broke open the royal family. And these are her two kids who got married. And Harry's marrying Meghan. And they are continually changed. They are reinventing the royal
William
family.
is much more like Charles. And William is very staid and sort of boring. And
He's kind of hot in that Lady Gaga video. We talked about that.
No.
But
Harry is much more like Diana, and Harry's the wild child and the fun one. And he
dare I say that Harry doesn't resemble his father, Prince.
Well, because he looks like the what is his name?
The pilot.
Gossip. Do you know have you seen this Meghan Markle speech that she did? When she was a kid, when she was 11,
yes,
she saw an ad, a Procter & Gamble ad, the tagline of which was "Women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans."
Yeah,
have you heard about this? And she got offended because two boys in her class at school said that's where women belong, in a kitchen.
It was very like they're taking off their rubber gloves. They're fighting against greasy. Get this new soap water. And she was offended.
And she told her dad, and her dad said, write letters. And she wrote a letter to the host of Nick TV,
Linda Ellerman. Ellerby, thank you.
That's right. She wrote a letter to Procter & Gamble, and she wrote a letter to someone else. I forget her. Hillary Clinton. How can I forget?
Oh my gosh.
Hillary Clinton. And blow me down, she got replies to every single letter. And so Nick TV sent along a TV crew. Procter & Gamble changed the slogan from "Women all over America" to "People all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans." And she gives this amazing speech about 3 years ago at an event where she talks about how in that moment, I realized the magnitude of my actions. At the age of 11, I had created my small level of impact by standing up for equality. Yeah. I mean, I guess that makes her Resistor of the Week, right?
Sure.
But I wrote letters when I was 11. No one ever replied. Huh. And I just think this is interesting because it's clearly she was going to get...
Did you use stamps? Did you post them?
I certainly did,
okay.
Yes,
Who'd you write letters to?
It's you don't want
Give me an example. Give me one.
Okay, I'm blushing now. Well,
Batman.
You love Batman. Those tights.
Fuck you all.
David Bowie.
Bowie. No, there was a department store in London called Bieber, and it was like a theme
you love
park,
Bieber.
and it was 30s deco, and it went bankrupt. And Marks and Spencer's, which is like Kmart, moved in and just ripped it all to pieces. And I wrote a letter saying, please don't destroy all the beautiful Art Deco installations. And
you were
they
4
did.
years old at the
They
time.
did. Destroy
Exactly.
everything. They ripped it to pieces.
Well,
So
yeah.
I think in this letter campaign of Meghan's, you can see that she was gonna go far.
Yeah.
In fact, didn't we one time in one of our first episodes? Wasn't there a Biba book that you
Yes,
talked
there
about?
was. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, it's flashback. Flashback Friday.
Yeah.
So, you know, as much as the institution should or shouldn't be, it is, and they're, you know, I'm just wrapping up, and they're changing it, and they're making, you know, it's almost like without this kind of a change, they'd be irrelevant. Like, why would you want these old toddy white
and it's
people?
something interesting to watch, and I think it's relevant in today's media and spectacle culture that they have found a way to make themselves relevant and watchable.
One of the most interesting things about it was on CNN and MSNBC and even Fox, they spent 2 days where they didn't mention Trump once.
Yeah.
It was wall-to-wall coverage, and it was nice.
That is part of the escapism that people, I think, like, if you give yourself a little bit to it, you're like, you know what, I want to go on a fantasy trip. I want to see the spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
And can I just say how lovely the Queen looks? I love that little chartreuse suit with the little pink and the hat. She's adorable.
90-something.
Yes.
She's like indefatigable.
Yes, at 92.
She's like Todrick Hall. She is.
But also,
She's
and then
prolific.
the mother of the bride, that was the other one too. I loved her because first of all, she had dreads. She had a nose ring.
Yes.
And when she went to Oscar de la Renta to get the outfit, Oscar himself gave her a diamond for her nose.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's
and
like,
it was so poignant the way she was sat on her own. I just thought that was like, but it is it's a beautiful thing.
it was, but that was
Wish them
that was
all
nice.
the luck in the world. Truly, like now that they're
Absolutely.
together, let them have love and let their relationship do wonderful things throughout the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I am going to give them the World of Drag box. I'm going to give them a free subscription
Send
to the
it.
World.
It's a
I'm gonna
wedding
write
gift.
a letter.
It makes it
Send a letter.
do it.
It's DragCon in a box. Items by Sasha Velour, Bob the Drag Queen, RuPaul, Michelle Visage.
Even though you
and
worked
Jason
into the story,
Mezio.
this is still a plug. Just so
It
you
is.
know.
Oh, this is the plug. Exclusive collectibles designed by your favorite drag queens. Shipped right to your door. Sign up at worldofdrag.com. It's DragCon in a box.
It is, and you spent a lot of time curating this box. It's really clever and really fun.
And it's a monthly thing, or it's a
quarterly thing,
thing,
and it's
okay.
a gift. So you sign up, and then it comes, and it's full of lovely surprises.
Give yourself a gift.
One of my favorite things is a little plushy squirrel in a soup can.
Oh, I
'Cause-
did see that. That was
Hey, squirrel
adorable.
friend.
But you know, the one thing that you've got to get the shade buttons, which sold out in the first 20 minutes.
Let's not talk about what they can't buy right now.
I'm sorry.
That's
This
the
is
rule of shopping television.
This is the buy this moment. But there's good news, actually, James, because DragCon New York City is coming up September 28th to 30th.
And maybe
Tickets are
there will be
on
some shade
sale.
buttons there.
Or some other kind of button.
I love that we're working it into story. This is good. This is like a podcast. I didn't even know they went off and started talking about Audible. I didn't even know.
And if you turn on your TV Thursday at 8 p.m., what will you see?
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes.
It's happening. We're down to like the last few episodes. It's starting to really heat up, and this is one of the most loved casts. And everyone that leaves is a heartbreak.
Any one of them could win.
Lena Dunham. Is it Lena or Lena?
Lena
Dunham and Ashanti.
Nothing wrong with that.
Same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.